Hi folks, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you something I get asked all the time, and that is what knot to use to tie your lure onto your fishing line, your rod. That depends, but by and large 99% of the time I'm tying one knot, and it's a polymer knot. It's a basic knot, easy to tie, and I've got for you this. I have to pretend this is the monofilament or fluorocarbon or braid line. I thought that was going to be too hard to see, so I just grabbed this thicker cord. I want to show you the basic polymer knot. It's super strong, it holds up, you're not going to bust fish off on it. It's the only line to tie. I don't see any reason to tie a different line. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to scoot a little closer to the camera. You can see, you have to pretend this is your mono. This is the lure end. This is the rod end. So this is the end right here we're going to be tying to the lure. And so this is your lure. Instead of a hook or a lure, a little easier to see where I'm threading it through, but this is your hook eye. This is your lure. You just have to pretend, use your imagination. Here again is your line coming from your rod. So what you do is you just double this. Just take a length of it, you know, could be a foot long or a little longer depending on the length of your lure, and I'll show you in a minute what I mean. But you double it over. So you take the end of your line, this is going to your rod, and just double it over before you do anything. And then once you got it doubled over, all you do is thread that through your hook eye, that doubled in part through the eye of your lure or your hook eye, just like so. So I'm just doubling it over, and then I simply do an overhand knot between the end of it I just threaded through and the doubled over part that is doubled over against your main line. So you just have that. And I'll have to move my hands a little here. I'll try to get a little closer. But you just fold it over and do an overhand knot. So you're just doing an overhand knot. And here, that's a good reason to show you. Since this is a very long lure, that would be like a long swim bait or jerk bait or something. I'm going to fold over a little more line to start with, just to show you. So you double it over again. Run it through your lure or hook, and all you do is make an overhand knot, and then you got this loop and you got this part going back to your rod, and so you just run that through the loop. Run your lure or hook, whatever it is you're trying to tie on, run that back through your loop, just like so. And then you simply slowly draw it close. So you can see that slowly close. It's a little hard to pull through because this is rope and not fishing line. But you can see how that closes down. It cinches down onto itself just like so. And believe me, it slides down much easier if it's not this kind of rope. So what we're going to do is show you that again. Again, we have your main line going to your rod right here on be your left hand view of the picture, my right arm here. This is going to the rod end. I don't have it connected to anything, but just a rope, just to show you clearly how to tie on the lure or the hook. This is the end that goes to your hook. And here's your hook or your lure. I'm going to use these bigger items so you can see it easier. It'd be really hard to show this with just monofilament and a tiny little hook. So this is the end of your line, this is your lure. And so all you do is double it over. You know, go a ways. There's no need to conserve any line here really. Be reasonable, you know, a foot to 18 inches depending on the length and size of your lure. The bigger your lure, the longer you want to double that. And I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. But you just double that over, And so you have this doubled over portion. You feed that through the eye of your hook or the eye of your lure, whatever you're tying on. You kind of bring it down a ways. I'll show you why in just a second. So you just got this doubled over portion. That's all you did, is double that line over at the end and run it through your lure. And then all you're going to do is tie an overhand knot with that doubled portion. So you have this overhand knot, and then you take your lure and just run it through the circle you just created by making the overhand knot again. So you're just running it through that portion. And then you keep it loose. And if you were tying this onto your rod and line, you'd moisten this with your saliva so that you don't build up friction and build up heat, which could damage your line, will damage your line. And then this is going to be a little hard to slide. You just slide that on down together. Again, you want to moisten this if you're using monofilament. It may not slide together that well. This is really sticky line here. That's all you do. I mean, and that's the end of it right there. And what I normally do, what I always do actually, is this is a little hard to pull down because it's rope and not monofilament. It doesn't slide worth a darn. But that's all there is to it. You got your knot, and then you trim off your tag end right here. I leave a little bit, just a little. But what you do is you want to pull and snug that up so that it's tight, and then trim off your tag end. So then you just trim that off, you know, give yourself a ½ an inch or so. And that knot will not bust. I guarantee you, if you tie that like that, leave a little bit, you want to make sure it's tight, pull it tight. Before you draw it tight, I didn't do it with this line because I really didn't want to put my mouth on it, but because what you do is you'll wet your mouth, wet your lips, and moisten that line so that when you draw it tight, you disperse the heat so you don't build up heat and create friction and potentially damage the line. But that's it. You can see, I mean, that does not slip. I tie that, I've caught loads of big fish on that knot, and it will not break on you.